Hi, I'm Josh Curving, and welcome to another Death Battle prediction video. But first, Mewtwo vs. Shadow and the Red vs. Blue episode. I'll talk about that in a bit. So Mewtwo vs. Shadow, it went about as expected, though they didn't go into quite as much as I would have hoped. They basically got the bare bones reasoning of why Mewtwo would win, but I would have liked it if they had gone into things like his pressure advantage, things like the power swap and guard swap. Those would have been nice touches to add in. The comedy was really on point in this episode as well. That was probably its strongest point. Though the animation, not only was it incredibly short, but very little really happened. I know, it is because of, so the animator has even openly admitted that he, lost all will to do the project, because he, wanted to get out of, character versus character fights for animation. And I think that's pretty unprofessional of him to do that, because he's still getting paid to do this episode. So when someone's paying you, you gotta put your best foot forward, and he lost interest and didn't put his best foot forward. So, and then we have Carolina versus Meta. I decided against doing a prediction video on this episode because I do Death Battle predictions, not Red versus Blue predictions. So I didn't really... I watched Red versus Blue, yes. I haven't seen the last, 2-ish seasons, but either way, I just didn't have any interest in doing a prediction video for that one, because they could effectively swing it whichever way they wanted, because they could just ask Rooster Teeth, hey, who wins? Which is why I tend to not like as many inter-series battles, unless they're, battle royales, in which case you have both the Ninja Turtles, which was very nostalgic based, and then you have the Ganto Starters Battle Royale, which was also extremely nostalgia based. So, and then you also have Goomba versus Koopa, but that's a joke fight. So I disagreed with them doing this episode to begin with, especially because it was, it deprived a spot of another death battle, though they are making up for that with this fight, because it's coming out early, so that does make a big difference. Another reason why I didn't actually end up doing the prediction video is because I've been spending the last while moving. I've got a new house now, so that took up a bit of time that I didn't spend researching. So all in all, though, with the Carolina versus Meta fight, the animation was very good. This is one of the few fights where the music really stood out to me. I really liked the music for the fight. Though I think the verdict is actually wrong. I think they underplayed the hell out of the Meta's time distortion unit. They brushed it aside by saying, oh, the healing unit would heal anything that was done, which doesn't really apply when he decapitates her during it. He has enough time. He can pause time for over 20 seconds, which is plenty of time to get in several huge hits and a decapitation, something that she would not be able to heal from. So that was the only real flaw that I really saw. But yeah, getting the voice actors for it adds to the immersion. The battle itself was great. And now we have the new one, which is Cammy White versus Sonya Blade. Hooray, Street Fighter Stomp, basically. If you look at it, Sonya Blade is one of the more featless characters in Mortal Kombat. Her scaling is all she has to rely on. She doesn't have any feats. And then even a lot of her scaling is sketchy as hell, because people try to scale her to Quan Chi because of the fight in MKX. But he had fallen off a horse and was drastically injured during that fight, which is pathetic as all hell, but other than that, though, she fought, like, the Revenant Scorpion, she fought she's fought a couple people, but she doesn't actually have feats of her own, which is going to be a big problem for Death Battle, because they usually don't do scaling. So, on the other hand, you have Cammy, who has dodged bullets in the comics, who has fought several characters, and if they do include scaling for Sonya, then they're including scaling for Cammy, which means that she gets scaled to jury, because even though they fought and Cammy got her ass kicked in the first fight, the second time they fought had no clear winner. So Cammy scales to jury, which is hilarious, because Jury is a character who nuked an amusement park because she got a little bit too into the fight, who's kicked a missile out of the air. By the way, I love the Jury OVA. It's really awesome. You should watch it. So, other than that, if they go bare bones with this... Oh, also, Cammy has directly survived several of M. Bison's, like, explosions and stuff that, like, sent cars and people, like, dozens of meters into the air, and she survived some of this stuff point blank. So, durability-wise, Sonya couldn't really touch her. The only concerns are Sonya's poisons. The drones aren't going to be that helpful because she's dodged bullets before. The poisons that she has are like the only thing of minor concern, because she doesn't herself have any feats of resisting poison. Like in Street Fighter V, though, there is a character introduced named Fang who he uses like exclusively poisons. That's his whole mechanic, and all characters can survive it. And even one character, Rashid of the Turbulent Wind, I think it was, he survived being stabbed in the back with his most potent poison, when some of his less potent poisons have been shown to, like, melt people whole. For some inexplicable reason, in fiction, poisons are the same as acids. Why? I don't know, but I'm not going to question it. So Rashid can survive those kinds of poisons, and Cammy is ultimately either on an equal tier as him or higher. You could make the reasoning that she could survive his poisons as well, but she doesn't actually have feats for it, so I'm not going to say she can. But her speed more than makes up for it, and makes it so that Sonya should not be able to use those poisons. And that's really the whole thing, is that the only chance that Sonya had was the fatalities, but most of the fatalities in Mortal Kombat are typically easily avoided by anyone who is paying any sort of attention. So, based on speed and strength and durability, like, Cammy has all of those advantages. She's fought evenly with Chun-Li, she can fight Jury, she's fought other psycho-powered dolls. I don't really think that getting into the movesets is really all that important. Though one thing of minor note is that Cammy does have a projectile destroying, like, backhand attack similar to Zangief's. So that could even help with some of the projectile control. Ultimately, I don't think this, and like, even if you look at training, Cammy is basically trained to be like a master assassin. Like, she was originally like I believe a clone of M. Bison. So there's like a whole ton of advantages that are in her favor, while Sonya largely deals with military, and that's basically it. Even though she was very hands-on military, it's typically like general duties and things like that. So she does have experience, but I don't think she's got experience against someone this drastically faster or stronger and more durable than her. So I think it's just easily, realistically speaking, if they weren't going to make a huge fight out of it, Cammy could just jump on her head and snap her neck with her thighs, which is one of her things. I hope we see that. Though a neck snap would be a bit light for this. We'll see. So really then, we saw a little bit of the fight, which looked good. So we'll see how this goes. I'm Josh Kirby, and I will see you guys next time.